Hi, all my beautiful family. My name is Kathy Forbes, and we got to start somewhere. So, we were talking about Joseph. He kind of starts around 37 in Genesis, and I'm on 42 right now. So, we've talked about how all these horrible things happened to him, and all the horrible things that happened to him, he trusted God. It doesn't actually say that he trusted God, but he said every time something happened to him, God gave him favor in everything. But even in that favor, I have to in my heart wonder what he thought being, you know, despised and, mocked by his brothers, having his jacket ripped off of him, being thrown into a hole, to know that they wanted to kill him, to know, like, well, we're not going to kill him. We'll just, even if you overheard the conversations, we're just going to throw him in a hole. Oh, no, we're going to, we're going to sell him. And Reuben didn't know he was going to be sold, and that's his brother. But at the same time, you think about, did he even know that Reuben was coming back to get him? Did he know that? Or did he just like believe that his brothers felt that intense of hatred toward him that they wanted him dead or they didn't want him around? And then to be sold, and you don't know who you're being sold to. You don't know these people. You don't know how they're going to treat you. And then to be sold again, and then have somebody lie on you to the point where somebody puts you in prison, and to do everything that you can to make people comfortable, to interpret dreams, to do all that, and to still be in prison. It's like, God, I'm doing everything I feel like I'm supposed to be. He didn't like let that woman touch him, and even though she didn't touch him, he still served God. He still was true. And I know he had to feel some type of way, because the story in itself makes me feel some type of way. It 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 actually makes me think, it's like all the things that we think are wrong. It's God, what are you preparing me for? We don't think about what he's preparing us for. And this day we're watching TV, we're looking at all this stuff on Facebook. We're watching people go to other countries. We're watching people have, they're showing you all these stacks of money, which, it's like $100 bill in the front, or two or three of those, then a stack of paper, but you don't know that. We're watching all this beautiful food. We're seeing all these things, and we're so like not happy with our lives, because we're seeing all this stuff, and we don't understand that it's just stuff. It doesn't matter. It comes and goes. But we memorize and marginalize what we already have and that we're already blessed. But Joseph didn't do any of that. He was just trying to get from one moment to the next. He had told them the prophecy that God had shown him. But you have to realize, we don't always, while we see things in part, we don't know what that stuff means. And while he did see the sheaves and his brothers were bowing to him, I'm pretty sure he didn't see himself as, you know, as the second-hand man to Pharaoh. I'm pretty sure he didn't see all that coming. But God has great things for us if we line up with his word. And I don't know. But this is, we got to start somewhere. And this is Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. And this is chapter 42. And we're talking about the famine in the land. And it did come. And Joseph stored up everything, and the whole world, it said, was in a famine. God dried it all up, and then everybody, the whole world, was coming to Joseph for food, because he had stored it up. And I don't know if he told anybody else, look, you need to be putting something in the corner. It says they all were buying from Joseph, and this says when Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Indeed, I have." And Jacob is Israel. God has already named him Israel. But in this book, they're calling him Joseph. Now, Jacob, they're calling him Jacob. "That you heard there's grain in Egypt? Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy again in Egypt, but Jacob did not see Joseph. He didn't see his brother Benjamin with his brother. Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brother, for he said, "Lest some calamity befall him." And the son of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Israel had already lost one son, and he didn't want to lose his other son, his other baby boy, so he didn't send that child. He didn't send him. He only sent 10 of his brothers. So now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him, as he said in the dream they would. With their faces to the ground, Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. Then he said to them, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaanite." So they hadn't seen him in all those years, and I'm pretty sure he had grown up, and he wasn't acting like they thought Joseph would act. So he was acting unfamiliar to them purposely because he did not want them to know who he was. And he recognized them, but they did not recognize him. So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dream which he had dreamed about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons. We are honest men. Our servants are not spies." So Joseph remembered the dream he had where they were bowing before him. And he used the dream. And he used the knowledge that he knew. And he tried to make his brothers feel some kind of way. So he told them, "You're spies. I don't know what you're up to." But he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said, "Their servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the younger is with our father today, and one is no more." But Joseph said to them, "It is as I spoke to you, saying, you are spies. In this manner you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, ye shall not leave this place, unless your youngest brother come here. Send one of you, let him bring your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you. Or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." So he put them all together in prison for 3 days. Then Joseph said to them, "In the third day, do this and live. For I fear God. If you're honest men, let one of your brothers be confined in your prison's house. But you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses, and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, "We are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pled with us, and we would not hear, therefore this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, saying, "Did I speak to you, saying, do not sin against the body, and you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us." But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them and wept. Then he returned to them again and talked with them, and took Simeon from them, and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money to the sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain, and departed from there. But as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey feed, at the campsite he saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of the sack. So he said to his brother, "My money has been restored, and there it is in my sack." Then the hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying one another, "What is that God has done to us?" So he didn't talk to them in his language. He didn't want them to know who he was. But he heard them. He heard the remorse. He knew they did wrong. But they didn't know. And he cried because of their pain. But he had to go through those things. He knew he had to go to those things or they would be starving. He didn't see the starvation coming when he first told them that. But all things were working to the good according to God, because he left him. They were being worked out, and all the anguish and all the disappointment and the slavery and the prison, they were all being worked to the glory of God, so that this testimony could be written. But it scared them when they seen the money in the sacks. They had the grain and the money was there. Why was the money there? They didn't understand. They didn't know it was Joseph. But the money was there, and it feared them. When they went to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaanites, and told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us, and he took us for the spies of the country. But we said to him, We are the honest men. We are not spies. We are 12 brothers, son of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the Lord of the country, said to us, By this I will know you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me. Take food for the famine of your household, and be gone. And bring your younger brother to me, so I shall know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. I will grant your brother to you, and you may trade in the land. Then it happened as they emptied their sacks that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in the sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said to them, You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simon is no more. And you want to take Benjamin? All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, Kill my two sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put them in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. He says, Give me my brother, so I can go get my brother. And if something happens, you can have my sons. He was begging his dad to trust him. Trust me, Dad. I'm gonna bring my baby brother back. I'm gonna bring him back. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother's dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity shall befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. So he told his son, he told Reuben, he said, Reuben, if you can't bring him back, I'm going to surely die. He was going to die of heartbreak. He had already lost Benjamin's brother. He had already lost Benjamin's brother, and he didn't want to lose his son. But Reuben was like, Dad, you got to trust me. But at the same time, Reuben tried to protect Joseph. He wasn't going to go get him and bring him home. But he said, Dad, you got to trust me. I got to go get Simon. I got to go get Simon. Oh, so, there we go again. Feeling sorry for ourselves. How can you feel sorry for yourself when God is so good and He's glamorous and abundance and love and peace, and He's fragile. He's in our weaknesses. He is love. He's love from a mother to a daughter, from a mother to a son, from a father to a daughter, from a father to a son. He's love. And in our weakness, there is more of Him to hold on to. Israel had 12 sons. The 12 tribes of Israel, each son represented a different tribe. And Joseph had the dream, not knowing what the dream meant, not the extent of the dream. And he used his circumstances at this time to get his family to Egypt. But they didn't understand. I love you, family. Peace.